Hello. You can see my Ashies right here trying to get in my lap. You don't. Are you gonna lay down? Okay, he's changed his mind. He heard noises outside. So, I just wanted to briefly talk about intuition, since it is something I just had a women's circle about, and also self-doubt. Actually, I think that's really what I want to talk about is self-doubt. So, my prompt to want to start a women's circle was definitely from my intuition. It's part of my sole purpose in this lifetime. Forgive me for losing train of thought. I have a lot of Ashley's back. I have some like brain fog issues, so I guess kind of one thing I want to talk about is that I have like a really big fear of people thinking I'm stupid. I know I'm not the only one that has the Ashley, get on my lap. Oh, there's the booty. You wanna lay down? You wanna lay down? Okay, he's laying down. You still see his little ears. I have this fear of people thinking I'm stupid. And over the last several years, I have had more and more kind of cognitive thinking issues. I have a list of medical conditions. You may or may not know that. I have a list of medications I'm on. You may or may not know that. Okay, he's decided he doesn't like my lap. You are not helping with my staying focused, sir. He is not helping. You want to show him your cute face? There's a cute face. He's like, put me down, Mom. You're my sweetheart. You're also letting me get unfocused. Refocus. Come on. So, anyway, it's sometimes called brain fog. Basically, mental clarity is not great. So, like, I forget words, and I know everybody forgets words sometimes. Everybody walks into a room sometimes and forgot why they were there. But for me, those things happen multiple times a day, every day. The forgetting words thing is kind of interesting because I'll like say a word that's similar, but not quite. It's very interesting. Like it's similar, but it's not the same, and it doesn't make sense in context. But thankfully, my husband has gotten good at translating me. So, but the point is, the brain kind of cognitive issues that I'm developing. I also repeat myself a lot. It's harder to stay focused, as I'm sure you can tell by the first 3 minutes of this video. Easy to lose focus. I forget so easily, like, what I'm doing. Like, I will go to unlock my phone because there's something I needed to do on my phone, and by the time it's unlocked, I have forgotten what that thing is. That happens a lot. Similar to the walking in a room and forgetting why you were there, but multiple times a day, every day for me. I need to change my calendar back there. We are not up to date. It is the 8th, not the 5th. Anyway, I'm sure some people will not be able to watch this at all. They're like, this is too unfocused, I can't do it. And I understand that. But, so, okay, where I was going with this. The brain fog kind of cognitive issues that I'm having now play into my fear of people thinking I'm stupid. Now, do I believe I'm stupid? No, not at all. I don't believe I'm stupid. But I do have issues with my brain thinking and stuff nowadays. I actually was tested and was fine, which is weird because I don't feel fine. So anyway, the brain fog crap plays into my fear of people thinking I'm stupid, and that is a big fear for me. Reasons long ago, childhood reasons. So it's something I struggle with, is trying to make sure people don't think I'm stupid. And it's a thing I'm trying to break, but this brain fog stuff makes it like 100 times worse. So I mentioned it at a women's circle today on intuition, right? Had a great conversation. Only one person could make it, which is fine. It's the weekend, I know. I scheduled them on a weekend so that people wouldn't like be at work or school, but that doesn't mean they're gonna be free on the weekend. People go out and do fun stuff on the weekend sometimes, so I'm not surprised. It's not important. Focus. Okay. So we were talking about intuition, what it is, how to recognize it, my own stories of how my intuition shows itself sometimes, and recent developments in that realm of my life that really prompted me to do a topic about it, because I wanted to share this with people. And I'll get to that. But first, we're doing self-doubt. So the whole time, okay, hang on. My throat is dry. Water. Okay, so the whole time I'm talking, and the other person's asking questions, you know, it was a two-way conversation, definitely. And so I'd be like talking, responding to a question of hers or something, and in my mind, I'm getting, do you even know what you're talking about? Why are you running this? You don't know what you're talking about. Are you repeating yourself? You're repeating yourself. You should stop repeating yourself. You sound stupid. You're rambling. You're not even on topic anymore. You haven't answered her question at all. What are you doing? So, bad thoughts. And we all struggle with it. We all struggle with self-doubt, right? And it actually ties into the intuition very well, because me and the other member who were discussing it, we're talking about trusting your intuition. Because when we get kind of intuitive hits on something, it's not rational. There's no like evidence to back it up, like the vast majority of the time, right? And so self-doubt can creep in, obviously. It may not be fear of people thinking you're stupid, like mine is, and what my negative, self-doubt was during the meeting. But we doubt everything. We doubt almost anything that isn't concrete, I don't doubt that I'm 40. That's pretty set in stone. I am 40. Things like that, you don't doubt, right? But like, I think, I don't know, I can't even, brain fog. Do you see how I have a fear of people thinking I'm stupid, and then my brain fog like 100% plays into that? Because in my mind, while I'm doing that, there's just this tiny little voice going, you don't sound intelligent at all. You sound like you have no idea what you're talking about. You can't even stay on topic. Why are you doing this? So I'm dealing with it, trying to work through it. So, I don't know, I'm probably not talking about this in an order that makes sense. But we talked about self-doubt. We talked about self-doubt in regards to intuition, specifically because intuition was the topic of today's women's circle. So I'll get to the intuition more on like what we talked about, but back on the self-doubt. So what really helped me is mindfulness. And I learned mindfulness through learning meditation. Quite a few years ago, maybe 8 years ago, something like that. I wanted to try meditation, and I thought I could never do it because I was like, I can't sit still and just like nothing. Like, that's not gonna work. Hang on, I was trying not to yawn. Sorry if I'm sniffling too. I have a sinus infection and an ear infection, and it's stupid. And I'm not gonna go through and edit out every little sniffle. Okay, so apologize if you don't like it. So I decided I wanted to try meditation though, and I was like, well, just like sitting in quiet is not gonna work for me because my brain is always going, and I'm sure plenty of you out there have the same. So what I first did to learn to meditate is I downloaded the app Headspace, and I do recommend this. Now, I haven't looked at the Headspace app in years, so I don't know if it's set up the same, but when I did it, there was like 7 days, 10 days free, something like that, and each one of those days, it was a guided meditation to basically help you learn to meditate. And it was great because you don't have to clear your mind to meditate. Because that was my hurdle towards meditating. I was like, I can't clear my mind. My brain is always going. So what I learned from doing that, the free portion of Headspace, is I learned how to be mindful of my thoughts. And when I finished the free portion of Headspace, I was not ready to pay for it. I downloaded the app Calm. Now, Calm I still use, and I pay for it because I think it's worth it. I'm not saying Headspace wasn't worth it. I just decided at that time Calm was a better match for me. But I highly recommend, if you want to learn to meditate, to start with the Headspace app, assuming they still have that free bit that literally teaches you how. So the main thing it teaches you, between Calm's free that I did for a while after Headspace, it teaches you like how to just let your thoughts pass through but not get absorbed by them. But if you do get absorbed by them, if you do start following a thought down a rabbit hole, it's not the end of the world. With learning mindfulness, you will notice, you know? Like, you're trying to do something and then all of a sudden you realize your brain's thinking about dinner tomorrow or something like that. Once you realize that you're off track, you just get back on track. Just go right back. So for me, what I personally have learned to do with my meditation, because of mindfulness, is I have to focus on something. So every time I inhale, in my mind I say inhale. Every time I exhale, I say exhale. And that helps to keep my mind from wandering too much. But if it does wander, I just go back to paying attention to my breathing, and I'm okay. That's irrelevant for the rest of this video. The point is that mindfulness has given me a tool to fight back against the negative self-talk, the fears that the ego brings in. And it doesn't mean I don't have the thoughts. I just told you I had the thoughts. I'm having them right now. But it lets me like look at the thoughts and be like, that thought is not me. I am not my thoughts. That right there is a crazy concept, but it's true. I am not my thoughts. And the self-doubt, the thoughts related to that, are not accurate. They're lies. They're trying to make me feel fear and anxiety and trying to keep me from doing the things I want to do. And I don't have to listen to them. So when I hear a negative self-talk thing in my brain, I counter it. I turn it around. And I'm like, no, that's not true. I don't sound stupid. And I can be talking about things like this. I have a point of view that I want to share to others that maybe they can benefit from. So mindfulness has helped incredibly with self-doubt. I highly, highly, highly recommend trying Headspace and Calm, just do the free versions to start with. Calm also has like 7 days of learning meditation or something. Brilliant. I love them. Do it. You will not regret it. Hopefully. I can't guarantee you won't regret it, but my brain right now can't figure out a way you would regret it. So, and then calm, I continue. I do it almost every day. So, my throat is so dry. So that's the dealing with self-doubt. Now onto intuition. I'll try not to ramble about this too much. So what we talked about, hang on, why don't I just pull up my notes? Would that make sense? Okay. Okay, so what really made me want to talk about intuition is a new thing that I've discovered about my own intuition. So I was going through the book, The Female Archangels by Callista. I have it as an audiobook, and I highly recommend it as an audiobook because sometimes there's like meditations and things in it, and Callista can actually like literally guide you through it. And she's the one that narrated her own book. I love it when the author is the one that narrates. But she was talking about truth bumps, and she was referencing goosebumps, but that you get them because something is true. And I started paying attention recently, and I noticed this is a thing that happens. Like, I watch a lot of like cooking competition shows, and it's not often, but sometimes a contestant on the shows will get emotional. Maybe the recipe reminds them of their, grandmother who passed away or something like that, and they'll get a little emotional about it. And a lot of times, sometimes I would just literally start tearing up with them. That's my empath. that's my empathic stuff. But other times I would get goosebumps while they were talking. And I was like, huh. So I kept watching for it. And it's true. For me, my intuition, I do get some hits of intuition that have nothing to do with emotion. But with me being an empath, I think that's why my intuition tends to tie into emotion. So Callista calling the goosebumps truth bumps actually is perfect. I feel it fits me very well. Sometimes you just get goosebumps because you're cold or something like that. That's fine. But if I'm watching someone or listening to a story, another thing that this has happened with is I listen to a couple of podcasts that will do paranormal stories and true crime, but true crime's not the one I'm talking about. Paranormal stories. And someone will have they'll be like reading someone's story. So it's not even the storyteller that's saying it. It's someone else reading their email or something about a story where, the ghost of their grandmother helped them through a rough night or something like that. And on some of those, I would get goosebumps. And I've now come to learn that means I have tapped into the emotion of the situation enough to know that this is real. This is real. This person 100% believes what they're saying or the emotion they're showing, all of that. Sometimes when you hear paranormal stories, I'm sure a lot of people are skeptics, and sometimes, people can say whatever they want on the internet, right? So they're not necessarily always true, but I've learned that if I get goosebumps while the story is being read, then at least the person who wrote it believes it. So that doesn't mean I get truth bumps every time something is true, and it doesn't mean that if I don't get truth bumps that it's not true. I tend to be able to tap into the emotion of it. And so for me, that's where the truth bumps comes in. Is I tap into the emotion. Yes, I know I'm repeating myself. Shush, ego. I know that it doesn't mean just because I don't get truth bumps doesn't mean it's not true. But if I can tap into the emotion of it, which I do without trying, okay? It's not like I do anything. I will get goosebumps, and then I know that it's legitimate. The emotion's correct, the person, true. It's not made up, and the person who wrote it definitely believes it. So that has been really interesting for me. It's been an interesting thing to notice and to look for and to talk about. And I wanted to talk to people about it, which is why I covered it in my women's circle today, and why I'm also covering it here, so people outside of that can maybe tell me their stories. I was trying not to yawn. It still happened. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm not tired. So anyway, not all of my intuition stuff is tied to emotion. But I believe with me being an empath, a lot of it is tied into emotion. So that's how I determine if someone's telling the truth most of the time, is what I have learned. So that's interesting to me. And then that just goes into self-doubt again too, like the whole, do you believe your intuition? You know, most of the time when we get some sort of intuitive hit, most of us as humans struggle to believe that it was legitimate and not just we made it up and it just happened, you know, it was a coincidence or whatever, because intuition and being an empath, for that matter, both, they're not logical things, they're not rational things, there's no concrete evidence of these things. You just have to believe. So I have one piece of guidance in terms of trying to figure out if something you're getting is from your intuition versus not. And basically, I see intuition as like coming from your soul or something like that, something higher than just our normal human selves. But then we also get stuff from our normal human selves, and that tends to be ego-based. And a lot of times those things, because they're ego-based, they're also fear-based. So, you know, man, I really want to do a video on this, and then the ego starts in, why? You don't know enough to do that. Like, why would you who's going to want to listen to you talk about that? Well, that's not my intuition talking, okay? Because it is not coming from love. That is coming from fear, anxiety, and just the ego in general. So, a positive thing you intuit is much more likely to be your intuition. Now, what do I mean by that? You may get a little intuition hit. Then maybe that person over there is someone you should avoid, okay? And that may be very valid. That's safety based at that point. That's not the same as the ego and its fear, okay? Ego based fear is more like the fear is around how others will see you, how they will perceive you, what will they think? Oh my goodness, clutch the pearls, what will they think? That is more ego based, because the fear, it's not a real legitimate fear, right? Does that make sense? You can't answer me, but nod your head. Okay. Whereas if it's coming from your intuition, it's not based on fear. It's based more out of love and compassion and kindness. And sometimes that includes your personal safety too, if you need to avoid someone. Or I've heard stories of people who, you know, they were about to leave work, but they just felt really strongly that they should wait a little bit. And then, you know, a giant, you know, crash happens on the highway that they would have been a part of it had they left at their normal time. That's not the same as being fear-based. So that's going to be a little hard to determine sometimes, though. So when you get, like, let's say you get a hit of intuition that's like, don't leave now, you should wait. Well, then look at what the reason is. Try to go under that and see why you might be getting that. So if you're getting it because, when you get home, you gotta cook dinner, you gotta fold the laundry, you didn't put that away yet, you know, your kids need to be fed. If that seems to be the underlying reason for the hit of like, don't leave right now. That's your ego talking, alright? That's your ego. But if you get some sort of intuitive hit like that and it's, ugh, sniffling's getting on my nerves. And it's not, there's nothing underlying that is the fear-based or anxiety-based or I just don't want to deal with life-based, then it may be a legitimate hit. Maybe you should wait a little bit before you leave. You know, maybe something is going to happen. Hopefully nothing bad. So, I feel rambly. I usually feel rambly in my videos. But basically, I've talked to you about self-doubt. I've talked to you about how to identify your intuition. I've talked to you about my experiences when it comes to truth bumps, which I have found very interesting. I'm sure not everybody is gonna get goosebumps from their intuition, but it's something I have that I kind of think is cool. It's like a visceral reaction. It's a visceral reaction, you know, that I can feel in that moment, which is really interesting to me. So, all right, it's been 26 minutes. That's too long already. Also, Ashley left me. He's down in his cat bed. Rude. All right, I will talk to you guys later. There will be a link in the description if you are interested in the women's circles. And also, I have a Discord server for anybody who's, you know, spiritual, pagan-y, witchy, open-minded, anything, and you want to talk about. I have different channels in it, like divination and angels and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if you heard that, but that was my cat. Another cat is right there. It's kind of a weird little sneeze he did. Okay, thanks, bye.